So let's move on to another class or group of food, which is the mineral salts. Now, the mineral salts are food substances that are required in traces for vital body processes. They are taken in their ionic form. Then the animal takes in elements mainly by feeding on plants and their products. Now, these minerals or salts, when they lack in the body, or when there's not enough quantity of them in the body, it will result in what we call a nutritional deficiency. Now, examples are phosphorus, sodium, iodine, manganese, fluorine, copper, and cobalt. Now, let's discuss each of these mineral salts, their sources, the functions of the mineral salts in the body, and the nutritional deficiency that comes as a result of lack of these mineral salts in the body. Let's start with calcium. Now, the sources of calcium are milk, cheese, egg, and fish. Now, the functions of calcium in the body, number one is bone and teeth formation and development. Another one is it's needed for blood clotting. Then another function of calcium it is needed for normal functioning of the heart, nervous system, and muscles. Now let's talk about the deficiency symptoms, which are the symptoms that result out of lack of calcium. One is rickets. Rickets is a disease of the bone. Another one is osteomalacia. Then another deficiency symptom is tooth decay. Now let's go to the next mineral, which is phosphorus. The sources of phosphorus are milk, cheese, egg, fish, and wheat. Then the functions, number one, it is needed for strong development of teeth and bones. Another function is that it forms part of DNA and RNA. The full meaning of DNA is deoxyribonucleic acid. Then RNA is ribonucleic acid. Then another function of phosphorus is that it is needed for respiration. Now, the deficiency symptoms of phosphorus. One is rickets. Another one is osteomalacia. Then tooth decay is also another one. Now let's talk about the next mineral salt, which is magnesium. So sources of magnesium in food are green vegetables, milk, and meat. Then functions is that it is needed for muscle contraction. Another one is that it is needed for the utilization of iron, and it's also needed for teeth and bones. One of the deficiency symptoms of magnesium is nervous disorder. Let's move on to another mineral salt, which is potassium. Sources of potassium in food are fruits and some vegetables. Now, functions of potassium is number one is that it's needed for functioning of the muscles. Another one is that it is needed for transmission of impulses in nerves. So a deficiency symptom of potassium is that it leads to muscle paralysis. Let's move on to another mineral salt, which is sodium. Let's take sodium and chlorine because they have the same sources, the same functions, and the same deficiency symptoms. So sources of sodium and chlorine is table salt, fish, and fruits. The function in the body is transmission of impulses. Another one is maintenance of osmotic balance of the cell. Now, a deficiency symptom of sodium and chlorine is muscle cramp. Another one is dehydration. Now, let's move on to another mineral salt, which is sulfur. Sources of sulfur are beans, fish, meat, and egg. Then the functions in the body are, it's a constituent of proteins, amino acids, and vitamin B. So the functions that all those other classes perform, sulfur performs it. Then the deficiency symptom of sulfur is poor growth. Let's move on to another mineral salt, iron. Sources of iron in the body are eggs, liver, kidneys, beans, and vegetables. Now, the functions of iron in the body, one is formation of hemoglobin in red blood cell. That's the major function of iron. Now let's move on to the deficiency symptom. And deficiency symptom is anemia. And anemia is a disease of the blood. So deficiency of iron will lead to anemia. Let's move on to another mineral salt, which is iodine. Sources of iodine are majorly seafoods like fish and other seafoods. Then, function of iodine is that it is required by the thyroid gland to make thyroxine. Deficiency symptom of iodine is goiter. Let's move on to another mineral salt, which is manganese. So the sources of manganese in the body are egg, milk, and meat. Then the functions of manganese is that it is required for normal growth. Then it also acts as cofactors in some enzymatic reactions.